All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome. If you are new, thank you guys so much for joining me today, whether you're here live right now as this is happening, or if you're watching the stream later on after the fact. It's always nice to see so many people patiently waiting as the intro does what it does. And immediately, Boss needs to be part of this stream. Boss knows. Boss knows that when I go live here, it just might be snack time. It might be snack time. So, uh, thank you guys for. I want to before I get into the topic list, I just want to again, I do apologize if it seems a little overly redundant, but I was curious to see how January was going to go, especially knowing that like January is usually as you can see, January is a pretty slow time for gaming. Not, you know what, to be fair, I feel like this month has not really been slow for gaming itself. I think generally speaking, it's been pretty interesting. But PlayStation in particular, I think things have been on the quieter side. And so I just want to honestly give a shout out to all of you guys for continuing to tune into the streams, for continuing to watch the content, and most importantly, continuing to engage with the content. I feel like that needs to be said because I'll be honest, I really thought that, um, unless Sony comes out and is talking every day or something, I don't know. You know how the outlook is right now for PlayStation first party, and that actually leads me into telling you guys what we're going to be discussing today. We have quite a few different topics to go over and discuss. We're going to be talking about a new PlayStation 5 system update, just to inform you guys what's going on there. We're going over the list of best selling games on the PlayStation Store for 2023. We're also going to be talking about Death Stranding 2. We have a new report regarding Death Stranding 2, which is exciting to me anyway. I'm actually really excited for Death Stranding 2. And this report also seems to heavily imply or indicate that we will be getting a state of play very soon. But on top of that, we have another report to go over that talks about, believe it or not, Until Dawn. Until Dawn is apparently set to come back in a relatively significant way, not just on the console or PC, not just the game itself, but actually apparently it's getting its own movie. So, yeah, interestingly enough, Sony is seemingly looking to do more with the Until Dawn IP. And I have a couple of bonus topics that if we have time, we should have time, but bonus topics here that I'm not going to tell you what they are just in case we don't get to them, but I would like to discuss a little bit more on these topics. So, guys, before we dive into this, I want to first just let you know how you can support the channel. I'm sorry, I got to get this out of the way. I was trying to look at the chat, and I do have a poll out right now. You guys can vote on it. I don't know if it's showing up for everybody. Do you think Sony will hold a state of play soon? You can vote on that, but I got to get that out of the way. That's like taking up more than half of my chat. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, a couple of ways you can help support the channel, help support the streams, and support the content that I put out here. Hit that like button, okay? Hitting the like button is the simplest, easiest way for you to let me know that that you enjoy the content, that you enjoy the streams, and that you would like to get more of them. It also helps with YouTube's algorithm. There are 3 ways you can support me directly. Become a channel member. You gain access to some exclusive perks, including the Members Lounge. We will be doing another Members Lounge after today's stream. So if you're a member, I hope to see you there. Consider gifting memberships. And if you're not interested in the gifting side or the membership side itself, then please consider donating a super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement. It all helps tremendously. So with that being said, I have a super chat here from Michael Lynch. Appreciate that, bud. You're saying, I see you have a 31% Xbox crowd here. Oh, you're saying that because I guess at the time you sent that super chat, 31% were saying no, they don't think there's going to be a state of play soon. Well, I mean, when it comes to the state of play, which we're going to talk about that more in depth in a little bit. But when it comes to the idea of a state of play happening soon, I mean, I understand why some people would say no. I think some people would say no because they don't want to have any expectation whatsoever. And I get that. I get that, you know? But there is also the reality that, well, we're at the end of January. We're going into February very soon. And Sony does have a tendency to do at least one state of play, you know, in that time frame. Usually. So I can't really blame anybody for saying yes. But what we're going to go over today, I think it does indicate that we are going to get a state of play. How good that state of play will be, well, you never know. You never know the answer to that question. So we're going to dive into the first topic here, though, which talks about a new PlayStation 5 system update. This was reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. PlayStation 5 system update 24.01-08.60.00. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't think it really does that much, but it's a lot. This has arrived from PlayStation. It focuses on two particular areas. The update adds new features to parties, improving your multiplayer sessions with friends. The other side of that update brings some fresh tweaks to the Pulse wireless headsets and earbuds. So this is exactly what this update has added. New features in parties. In the Parties tab, you can now see the list of parties you've joined in the past. You can easily restart a party just by selecting it from the recent list. We've updated the device software for the Pulse Elite wireless headset and Pulse Explore wireless earbuds. You can now use a sound equalizer feature. So I think this is one of the more requested features that seem to be lacking with these headsets, that people were like wondering, like, how come I can't do this, or why isn't this possible with the Pulse Explore and the upcoming Elite wireless headset. Well, I guess people would have been asking that with the Elite wireless headset. I keep forgetting that's not actually out yet. It's coming out in February. They say here you can now use the side tone feature, which makes it easier for you to hear your own voice in voice chats. So this is quite unexpected, but they're basically adding mic monitoring. I think this is a pretty significant feature. If you're anybody who uses these earbuds, or you're going to use this headset, that's to me, mic monitoring, at least when I'm wearing like over the ear headphones, is pretty important. And it's really good to see that they're adding that. They say here, when you have a Pulse Elite wireless headset or Pulse Explore wireless earbuds nearby, a notification will now appear to let you connect to them quickly. You can now easily switch the connection from your PC to your PS5 through this notification. We've improved system software performance and stability. Obviously, I have to say that every time. We've improved the messages and usability on some screens. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what this PS5 system update is offering. It's nothing major, nothing substantial, but still something that, I think some PlayStation 5 users are going to, find some of this pretty good. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. I have a super chat here from Austin Potts. He says, "Can I ask your opinion on Nintendo?" No, you cannot ask my opinion on Nintendo. So moving on to the next topic. No, I'm just kidding, Austin. To be honest, I don't really have much of an opinion on Nintendo because I've talked about this before, but to answer your super chat, my opinion on Nintendo is very simple. It's Nintendo does what they do, and I don't fully understand it, but I'm okay with not fully understanding it, and that's it. That's basically as far as it goes. Right now, I will add to that, my opinion is I'm intrigued by Nintendo right now because I know that they have a new console coming out, that they have the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called, but the next generation Switch that they're going to reveal, and I'm very intrigued in seeing how they handle that, what the console features are going to be, if it's going to live up to the expectation, I guess, as if it's going to do as well as the original Switch, but most importantly, if it's going to appeal to me. Thank you for that, boss. The big thing with Nintendo is I haven't cared about Nintendo since I was like 9 or 10 years old. I did grow up playing some Nintendo, and I had a Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SP, played the Pokemon games, played some Mario games, and um, Zelda. I was fine with Nintendo. Um, but then just one day, I don't know, I just stopped caring. There was no particular reason. I just stopped caring about Nintendo, and I frankly just like never, and I never went back. I pay attention obviously to some of the things that Nintendo's doing, not super closely, but they are on my radar at times, and yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a like underwhelming answer, but I don't have a bad opinion of Nintendo. I think that they're fine. I mean, I know some people don't like some of their business practices and whatnot. Um, but I don't know. It's one of these things where again, I haven't engaged with Nintendo in such a long time. I feel like I can't even give an opinion on that. Like, I see people complain about stuff sometimes for Nintendo. I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't know what to say. I don't play on Nintendo, but like I said, I am very intrigued in seeing what they do next. So there you go, Austin. I'm going to move on to the next topic here, though, which I think is a pretty interesting one. It is going over the list of best-selling games on the PlayStation Store. Again, coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, Hogwarts Legacy beats Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 to be the best-selling US PS5 game on the PlayStation Store for 2023, as well as on the PS5 and PS4 in Europe. This news comes just days after it was revealed that Hogwarts Legacy was the first non-Call of Duty or Rockstar-developed title to top the US sales charts since 2008. Hogwarts Legacy takes the top spot. And they're just kind of like running down the. Actually, hold on. There is some interesting data here. It says Hogwarts Legacy takes the top spot in the PS5 downloads chart in North America, although Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 beats it in the PS4 chart. This result comes as little surprise following the reveal of the US sales chart at the end of the last week. The US sales charts are usually dominated by the latest Call of Duty title or the newest game developed by Rockstar. However, Hogwarts Legacy became the first bestseller to fall outside of those categories since, and this is the interesting part to me, Rock Band in 2008. So they did reference it that it didn't happen since 2008, but they didn't say the game. Apparently that game was Rock Band. Good times. Good times with Rock Band, honestly. I don't know how many of you guys played Rock Band, but and Guitar Hero as well. But I liked Rock Band a lot because of the drums. I think Guitar Hero did like world tours, something like that, where they basically copied Rock Band. But good times, man. Good times. And Austin Potts with another super chat, simply saying thank you. Well, you're welcome, Austin. I appreciate the super chats, man. You still play Guitar Hero on your 360? That's awesome. Yeah, I played Rock Band 4 for a while, and I got really into that. I kind of wish that these games would come back. I think there was some kind of rumor, or I don't know if Activision basically confirmed it themselves that they're planning on bringing back Guitar Hero, and I'm like, if you bring back classic Guitar Hero, not the. I know that there was like this new version of Guitar Hero or whatever that they tried to release not that long ago, and it just like flopped because it was just like, what is this? So if they bring back classic Guitar Hero, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. But continuing on here, it says, well, I'm not going to read anymore. I'm just going to read you the list, okay? PS5 US Canada top downloads. Here are the top 20 on the PlayStation Store. Number 1, Hogwarts Legacy. Number 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Number 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Number 4, Madden 24. Number 5, NBA 2K24. Number 6, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 7, Baldur's Gate 3. Number 8, Diablo 4. Number 9, EA Sports FC 24. Number 10, Mortal Kombat 1. Number 11, MLB The Show 23. 12, Final Fantasy 16. 13, Resident Evil 4. 14, Dead Island 2. 15, WWE 2K23. 16, Assassin's Creed Mirage. 17, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. 18, Dead Space. 19 Street Fighter 6, and 20 Grand Theft Auto 5. They do have other lists here. I'm only going to read the PS5 top European downloads. I'm not going to go over every single list. I think that would be because they have it for like PS4 and everything. So I'm just going to do the US and Canada PS5, and then now for Europe, number 1 is EA Sports FC 24, 2 Hogwarts Legacy, 3 Modern Warfare 3, 4 Grand Theft Auto 5. That's a huge difference. Grand Theft Auto 5 was number 4 in Europe, number 20 in the US. Number 5, Spider-Man 2. Number 6, FIFA 23. 7, Baldur's Gate 3. 8, Diablo 4. 9, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. 10, Assassin's Creed Mirage. 11, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. 12, Cyberpunk 2077. 13, F1 23. 14, Resident Evil 4. 15, Final Fantasy 16. 16, NBA 2K24. 17, NBA 2K23. 18, Dead Island 2. 19, Rainbow Six Siege, and 20, Need for Speed Unbound. So there you go. Those are the top downloads on the PlayStation Store for 2023 for US, Canada, and Europe. I'm trying to see if there's any. I mean, I think truly the big takeaway here is kind of what was mentioned earlier, is just how insanely well Hogwarts Legacy is done. The fact that Hogwarts Legacy beat out Call of Duty, at least in the US and Canada, is, I mean, that's a pretty significant feat, I would say. Spider-Man 2 at number 3, that's pretty huge. Not necessarily surprising, though. Spider-Man was always going to do well. Baldur's Gate 3 at number 7, so we have some idea of like how well it did. I don't think Larian really reveals most of their sales data, but I guess, this is our glimpse into that. And Final Fantasy 16 at number 12. I'm trying to evaluate if that. I'll be honest, I would have expected Final Fantasy 16 to be a little bit higher up on this list. At least at like number 8 or 9. Like I see, well, I don't know. Like, for example, Mortal Kombat 1 is at 10. I don't know. I feel like Final Fantasy 16 would have had enough behind it to be able to maybe beat out like Mortal Kombat. But then again, Mortal Kombat is a very popular series. But I don't necessarily think number 12 is bad, but Resident Evil 4 behind Resident Evil 6, or sorry, Final Fantasy 16. And Dead Space making it into the top 20. So there you go. Just some pretty interesting sales data. Irfan, you're saying it was 16th on the NPD. Yeah. That's a shame. I'm not, like, it's not a failure. You can tell it's not a failure. But I guess I'm just saying, like, considering how good Final Fantasy 16 is, I thought more people would have picked it up. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe later on I don't know. We don't know how long it's going to be exclusive to the PlayStation 5. We know it's eventually going to come to PC, but maybe over time those sales could pick up. More people upgrading to the PS5, looking for games to play. Like, oh, Final Fantasy 16. All right, we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to go over that data with you guys really quick. Just let you know what's going on there. We're going to move on to the next topic, though. And this is one I'm pretty interested in because I don't know how many new people are here or how many new viewers are here, but I loved Death Stranding. I platinumed Death Stranding. I put over 100 hours into Death Stranding, and it was one of my favorite games that I experienced last generation. And there were rumors for like a little while there that, there's going to be a sequel to Death Stranding, but obviously things got, as we know, pretty crazy with Kojima Productions and his future projects. We're not going to dive into that again. But we have an interesting report here. This is coming from Push Square. They say the reliable tipster Billy Bill Kunn, I don't know if that's how you say his name or not, but Billy Bilkun, now working as an investigative reporter for French outlet Dia Labs, reports that a re-reveal of Death Stranding 2 will take place in the next 15 days, during an as-yet unannounced state-of-play broadcast, no less. If that doesn't sound confident enough, they suggest that Kojima Productions' anticipated sequel will feature the subtitle On the Beach, getting very specific indeed. Death Stranding 2 was revealed at the end of 2022, but things have been mostly quiet. A recent influx of PlayStation bigwigs visiting Kojima's lair, I love that they call it his lair, adds further credence to the re-reveal report. And the first Death Stranding was released in 2019, so it feels like it's about time to learn more about the game. And so, yeah, this is what's pretty interesting here is we're getting a couple of things. The first is that, hey, you're going to be hearing more about Death Stranding 2 in the next 15 days during a state of play. Then they also say, and to me, this is what makes this believable, is the fact that they are getting so specific as to say that the full name of the game is going to be Death Stranding 2 or DS2 on the beach. I mean, to me, that's something that, you know, it is pretty specific, and it does tell me that, okay, so to be clear, and this is important to put out here, is apparently this Billy Bilkun person has been very accurate with the different things that they've been reporting. They don't report like a ton on PlayStation, but anytime they have been correct, and they seem to be a pretty reliable source in general. So this is exciting to me, man, because I was a little bit surprised that we didn't get any new information, like at all, about Death Stranding 2 in 2023. I would have thought that we, at the very least, I would have thought we would have gotten like a second trailer, but we didn't really get anything. I think some people, myself included, actually, looking back, I was thinking that Death Stranding 2 could have been like a 2024 title, you know, but now I'm beginning to think, okay, maybe that's too bullish. Maybe it's going to be like a 2025 game, maybe like an early 2025 game potentially. We have the Leninator FFC re-upping his membership here, coming back to greatness awaits. Leninator FFC, thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate you re-upping your membership, bringing the counter. There we go. It's showing now. Bringing it up to 1. So getting us started today. I appreciate that, man. I hope to see you in the members lounge after the regular stream today. So be sure to join us there, man. Yeah, that's true as well. Billy Bilkun frequently, pretty much always, leaks PlayStation Plus games. You know what? You're right. I totally forgot to mention that. That's how we know they have a reliable source or two, because they leak out the PlayStation Plus lineup consistently, like every single month before it actually is officially announced. So, Death Stranding 2, man, on the beach. I mean, what can we gather from that? I don't think there's much we can gather from hearing the full name of the game. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Is it going to be... It's going to be a beach simulator game. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to hang out on the beach. That's the game. You're going to be delivering stuff to people on the beach. We have DJ coming in and gifting a membership. DJ, thank you so much for that, man. With DJ's membership gift, he brings us up to 2 on the day, which is nice to see. So I appreciate that support, buddy.
Thank you.
That's for you. Get some W's in the chat for DJ. Actually, DJ gifts 2 memberships. That's a second membership gifted by DJ. So, guys, we got DJ coming in, dropping some gifts for us. Thank you for that, man. Good stuff. Appreciate the support. Yeah, the first game, Death Stranding, they talk about the beach a lot, you know? I mean, there's even sections of that game that take place on a beach. So it's not surprising that the full name is going to be Death Stranding 2 on the beach. My whole thing with this, though, is the fact that based off of this report and this rumor, Death Stranding 2 could be the headline game at an upcoming state of play. And let me tell you, that sounds good to me. That sounds good to me. I have talked to you guys extensively about my expectations if Sony does a new state of play, whether it be at the end of this month, sometime next month, or in general. Like whenever they announce, hey, we're doing another state of play, I told you guys that one thing I automatically don't expect are new first-party game announcements from their studios. To me, that type of stuff is always reserved for like the showcases. However, one thing that state of plays are very good for is giving us updates on already announced games. And Death Stranding 2, it's interesting that Death Stranding 2 was already announced and we did get a trailer, but like we just still don't know anything about it. We know that Norman Reedus is in it again. He looks older now. We know that some of it's going to take place on the sea. But when it comes to, getting like some real meaningful details about how is this game going to play, what features are there going to be, just anything at all, we don't know anything. And so this is information regarding a game that I'm very much excited about, that I've been looking forward to. So this definitely gets me excited. I hope it ends up being true. If it's not part of a state of play, I'm okay with that. If it's just Kojima's going to reveal this stuff on his own, or they're just going to drop this info in the next week or two, kind of unprompted, I'm cool with that too. I just want to see more of Death Stranding 2. My big question for Death Stranding 2, it's a pretty simple question, and it's, what is the gameplay loop going to look like? What is it going to be like? Because I'm sure, as most of you know, Death Stranding is it's a pretty divisive game, right? People say that it's boring, it's uninteresting, it's not engaging, it's it's just a package delivery simulator, a glorified package delivery simulator. People have said many different things about Death Stranding, and I understand why some people say what they do about Death Stranding, but for me, I was always going to play Death Stranding no matter what, because it's Hideo Kojima's first AAA game that's not Metal Gear, right? At least in forever. His first independent game. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play this game no matter what. And it's interesting because when I think back to when I first played Death Stranding, I was struggling where like I couldn't quite understand like the gameplay loop. Like I understood it, but I wasn't feeling it. I'm like, I don't know about this, man. Like this is not what I expected. And I distinctly remember, I can't remember exactly what hour, like if it was like 15 hours in or 10 hours in or something like that. But there was a moment when I was playing the game where something just clicked. I don't know if it's because the game just kind of opened up for me, but I began to like understand like the loop of, or like the satisfying gameplay loop that does exist, believe it or not, in delivering packages, right? In harsh terrain where you have to fight the terrain itself, but you also have to worry about BTs, you have to worry about enemy encampments and all this different stuff. And it did become quite addicting. I can tell you that. There's no way I would have put over 100 hours into Death Stranding if I didn't genuinely enjoy the gameplay loop. And these two games couldn't be more different than the two games I'm about to bring up. That being Death Stranding, but the other game, I'm not saying it's anything like Death Stranding because it's not. And that game is Returnal. But for me, what I've realized that both of these games have in common, there are two distinct things they have in common for me personally. That is, I struggled with both of them for like a good chunk of time when I first started playing them. So like the first 10 to 15 hours, it wasn't clicking for me. And there was a distinct moment for both of these games where it did just click, and suddenly I know how to play this game now. And I just got good at it. I don't know. And I know it sounds funny, like how do you get good at delivering packages? Trust me, if you've played Death Stranding, you know there is a level of, if not skill, preparation involved, that you need to learn how to properly prepare for whatever, the journey is you're going to go on, how long it's going to be, the distance, the potential change in weather and terrain, potential enemies, stuff like that. And it all just kind of clicked. And another thing that both of these games have in common is, once it clicked and I was like, wow, I feel like I fully grasped this game now, I ended up putting over 100 hours into both of them. Granted, for Returnal, a big part of that was trying, at least a good 20 to 25 hours of that, to be fair, was trying to get the last remaining glyphs. But it was a really unique experience. If there's one thing I can say about Death Stranding, and if there's only one thing I could say about Death Stranding, it was one of the most unique gameplay experiences I've ever had, and I still have not experienced anything like it, not even close. And I'm talking about it in this way because this is the driving factor for me behind Death Stranding 2, is like, what is going to change? Because I have this feeling that for a game like Death Stranding 2, something quite significant is going to have to change or evolve. And what does that evolution of this type of gameplay look like? You loved making a zipline network. Yeah, those were pretty... Dude, let me tell you, that whole idea right there of the things that people are setting up, other players, the things that other players are setting up in the world, you can use too. Like, they leave them behind for you to use. Oh man, like that is legitimately a game changer for a title like Death Stranding, because there were so many times where I remember I was like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna make this delivery, and then I see, like, in the distance, far out but close enough that I can still see that, like, oh, there's a zip line there. If I can just get to that, and I wasn't the one who put it up, stuff like that is really cool. We have KG Games, a member for 7 months. He says, "Hey MBG, quick question. I'm disappointed with Gorilla if we're sticking with Horizon. Should I not buy Horizon 3 to send the message that I want something new?" I mean, it's a good question. Well, I think the answer to that question, honestly, is a pretty simple one. I think it's as simple as, if when Horizon 3 is revealed, because they did confirm they're making a third Horizon game. Whenever that game is revealed, when you see the trailer and eventually when you see the gameplay, if you still feel that way, where you're like, man, I'm disappointed in this. Like, I don't care about Horizon. I didn't want a third game. I wanted something new. Then I would say, yes, you should avoid purchasing it, because that is the best way to send the message to any company or creative. Like, you're one individual part of a larger market, and you do have to speak with your wallet. And if that means not opening it and not paying for it and not playing it, well, that sends a message. But the thing is, you also have to understand, KG Games, that it might, like, just because you choose to do that does not mean that Gorilla's going to turn and say, oh, well, hey, he didn't buy the game, so I guess we should move on from it. It's a situation where I would say, if you see the game and you're like, this actually does look pretty good, you probably should just play it. Because, I mean, I feel like after Horizon 3, it would be surprising to me if Gorilla didn't move on to something new, or at least bring out a new IP sometime after Horizon 3. Because once they start going into Horizon 4 or 5, it's like, okay, well, we're really going to have to see how much demand is there for it. And I think that there is still going to be a good amount of demand for Horizon 3. I could see there being less, maybe, than there was for Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West. But there's always the chance there could be more too. It's just one of these things where, dude, you're going to have to ask yourself when the time comes, when you see the game, do you want to play it or not? Because if you don't want to play it, then there's your answer. Just don't buy it. Save your money, and you will also be sending the message to Gorilla, like, I'm not interested in what you guys are doing anymore. But I think sometimes, again, like, Horizon's one of those games where I do see quite a few people. Like I see more people than I would expect being like, "Oh, I'm not a fan of the Horizon series," or "I'm kind of tired of it," or "I'm bored of it," or "I'm just not interested anymore. It's not capturing me." I see more of that than I expect, but the reality is Horizon Forbidden West did very well. It certainly well enough to warrant a third game. Um, and I think it'll really kind of come down to seeing how that third game does. Because if people, if the majority of people, because that's the thing, is it the majority or is it the minority of people who are, you know, would consider themselves at one point in time or another fans of Horizon? You know, is it is it true that people are tired of it? Because if they are, they will speak, and the way that they will speak is by not buying it, and Sony will see that, or if the sales, if there's a massive sales difference, like 1 year after the launch of Horizon 3, it's like, wow, we still didn't sell 5 million copies yet. At that point, the answer is clear that yeah, people are tired of Horizon. Um, but if it's like it's selling just as well, or even better, or close enough, then they'll probably continue it to some degree. But my feeling on Gorilla is I understand why they're going all in with Horizon. I fully understand it, and I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I would only have a problem with it if they don't have any plans for something new as well. So my assumption is that they do have a new IP in the pipeline. It's just not necessarily, it's not something we're going to see anytime soon. Hopefully not like 10 years from now. That would be too long. Hopefully not like 7 years from now, right? Like I imagine Horizon 3 will come out potentially at the beginning of the PlayStation 6 generation. And then as I'm, you know what? As I'm mapping this out in my mind, it might be that long, unfortunately. But I just want to know that, look, okay, you want to wrap up Horizon with a trilogy, that's fine. But I think if they go beyond a trilogy, it might get to a point where it's like, guys, you got to make something new, you know? You worked on Killzone for a long time. Now you're working on Horizon for a long time. But don't just stick with Horizon, do something new as well. I think it's important for all of Sony's major studios to eventually move on to something new. I do. You can go back to the old thing, but there always has to be room for something new. That's my opinion anyway. So I appreciate that, KG Games. We also have Sim Particle, a member for 11 months, saying all you need to do is get to 100, or all you need to do to get to 100K is smash an Xbox with a golf club on video. It's a great idea, Sim Particle. I'm gonna write that one down because you're right. If I did that, I probably would get to 100K, no problem, with a golf club. Do people still do stuff like that though? I know that that's like always kind of a popular thing to do at the launch of a new console, where there's like some people out there that's how they get attention. Yeah, people. I see somebody mentioning a toaster in the chat. People are taking things to the next level. They're not smashing electronic devices anymore. They're now just sticking forks in toasters. Man, we've really we're really making it as a species here. Did you guys see that video of that dude who it turns out it was fake, but it's like this is so crazy that stuff like this goes viral where the dude set up two toasters and had like two forks and like stuck them in the toaster and it was fake. It looked pretty convincingly real though, where like he like they exploded and he got shot back to the room, to the back of the room, and like it looked like the camera was cutting out and whatever. The more you watch it, the more you realize like that's definitely fake. But it's just stuff like that. You see people doing stuff like that on stream for attention and for clicks and views, and it's like I hate to be that guy, but it's like natural selection, man. Like if you're dumb enough to plug in a toaster and get a fork and set up a stream and say I'm going to stick this fork into this toaster and see what happens, I can't really feel sorry for what happens to you. You know, I can't feel bad. because that's so easily avoidable. But yes, the idea of taking a golf club to an Xbox, I don't know, man. At that point, I'll just take a golf club to an Xbox, to a PlayStation, and I'll bring in a Switch, I'll bring in a PC. It'll just become the new content on my channel. But I appreciate that, Sim Particle. But getting back to Death Stranding and this state of play, well, I think here's my question about this state of play, right? That's apparent, like, assuming there is going to be a state of play. There might not be. I want to acknowledge that there might not be a state of play. It would be a little bit surprising because it's like, well, the timing seemed right. But assuming there is going to be a state of play, for me, Death Stranding showing up would make that automatically a pretty good state of play, because it's like, wow, yes, please show me Death Stranding 2. I'm very excited for this game. But my question would be, what else may show up, right? And I think that there's a pretty healthy amount of content or games that could show up for PlayStation. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I think, would obviously show up to some extent. I think we would see more Rise of the Ronin. I think that'd be a great time to show more Rise of the Ronin. The game that I really want to know if it would show up, and this would be a little bit awkward in a way, it's Silent Hill 2 Remake, right? I mean, we've been hearing for like months now that this game is pretty much done, and we're just waiting to get the release date. We're just waiting to hear from Konami. And even Bloober Team recently said that, yeah, they're going to get ready to ramp up the marketing. Yes, Stellar Blade could show up too. I actually, yeah, Stellar. There's quite a few games that could show up that I would be happy to see more of. Silent Hill 2 is definitely one of them. I want to see Silent Hill 2. If Sony does do a state of play in the next couple weeks, I really want to see Silent Hill 2 there, because it's been too long since we've seen it. But man, how awkward would that be? Like, just seeing Silent Hill 2 remake from Konami, and then Death Stranding 2 from Kojima. Actually, you know what? It wouldn't be awkward. It would be cool. I would like to see that, because seeing like Konami and Kojima kind of show up at the same spot and just kind of like be cool with that. That would be nice to see. And then after that, I will, lose my mind and talk to you guys, go down the rabbit hole and talk to you guys about how clearly, because Kojima Productions and Konami with Silent Hill 2 Remake, this clearly confirms that Death Stranding 2 is secretly a Silent Hill game. And then we'll spend the next week talking about that, of course. As long as Death Stranding 2 has a soundtrack as good or close to the first Death Stranding, that made the game so much more. Yeah, I agree. Death Stranding soundtrack was really good. I'm sure Death Stranding 2 soundtrack will be amazing as well. That's not really something I doubt. My big thing with Death Stranding 2 is I'm just so eager to learn about the gameplay, dude, because I can't shake what I heard Kojima say after he officially revealed it the first time. Kojima, again, I've talked about this a couple times, but it's worth bringing up here again since, we're on the topic of Death Stranding 2. Kojima did a podcast episode. He does his own podcast. I think it was a day or two after he revealed Death Stranding 2. And what he basically said, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he was like, "Oh, I can't reveal too much about the game, but what players can expect is like gameplay that's more similar to my past games, like my older games." And that really stuck with me, because it's like, well, I think when people hear Kojima say something like that, intuitively the first game you're going to think of is Metal Gear Solid. Understandable. It's the most popular game series he's made. I don't know. Maybe he could be referring to like Zone of the Enders or something. Yeah, that to me is what makes things kind of maybe he is referring to that. Isn't so I've never played Zone of the Enders, but isn't that like a mech game? I want to make sure I have this straight before I speculate any further. Where's Project Awakening? Oh, I have no idea. Zone of the Enders is Kojima's mech game. Okay, so I may be totally off the mark in assuming that when Kojima says the gameplay is going to be uh, more similar to my previous games or my older games, I'm automatically thinking, oh, Metal Gear Solid. But I might be completely wrong, and he might actually be referring to Zone of the Enders because there have been rumors that a big part of this game is going to take place on the ocean or in the ocean. And I'm like thinking about the reveal trailer and that giant, basically look like kind of like Metal Gear, right? Coming out of the ocean. And it's like that, I think that's what he's talking about. Because when I think about the idea of, you know, Metal Gear Solid gameplay, that kind of already exists in Death Stranding. Not entirely, but close enough where it's like you can get guns, you can shoot people, you can knock people out, you can get into hand-to-hand combat, you know? Um, the stealth action gameplay is there, just in a different way. So I'm really beginning to think that I may have completely misinterpreted what he said when he's like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be kind of like my older games." Now I'm really beginning to think, "Oh, the idea because when I was thinking about it, okay, how do you make traversing the sea and the ocean fun?" Well, I mean, I think about like Metal Gear Solid 2, right? Was it Metal Gear Rex? I think that's the name of the Metal Gear Rex. Or is it Ray? I think it might be Ray. Metal Gear Ray. Um, where it's like, the tanker scene. You see, Ocelot get into the Metal Gear. Is it Rex? I get them confused sometimes. But I think of that scene where Ocelot hops into the Metal Gear and the Metal Gear dives into the ocean and he's just it is Ray. Hold on. Now the chat's confused. I got to look this up to make sure. Metal Gear Ray. Okay, it's Ray. Yeah, I'm thinking of Ray, not Rex. Rex is the first. It's from MGS1. Okay. Yeah, Ocelot gets into the Metal Gear Ray and dives into the ocean and there's even like a cutscene where he's basically using it like a submarine. And I'm like, you know, this could be awesome. Like the idea of like he's gonna make basically what are like Metal Gears, that you can now use a Metal Gear in Death Stranding 2. I mean, it's not gonna be called Metal Gear, but you can go in the ocean, go underwater, go on land with it potentially. I mean, it sounds like it could be really cool. Now, obviously, I'm doing extremely heavy speculation right now. I could be way off the mark with all of this, but it would be cool to see something like that. And when I think about it, it's like, well, if you play Death Stranding, you can ride a motorcycle, you can ride vehicles, and there's all these different ways you can get around on land. And you're definitely not doing anything on the ocean. So the idea of like, okay, well, I'm thinking the yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the same concept of delivering packages is going to stay the same though. I'm excited. I don't want to get my hopes too high just in case something changes, but man, I really am eager to see more Death Stranding 2. It is one of my most anticipated games. I didn't think we'd be seeing it this soon though. I thought if we were going to see more Death Stranding this year, it would be closer to like showcase time or something like that later in the year. Not at like a state of play. Yeah, that'd be I mean, if there's one thing I do feel confident in with Death Stranding 2 is it's going to be pretty wild. Because if you played Death Stranding 1, it was a wild ride. Some might say too wild. A little too crazy. Kojima's having a little too much fun. But I really did enjoy it. So, this was like, right now, this is I guess if you want to say the big rumor regarding PlayStation at the moment. 15 days. So let me see. This rumor surfaced yesterday on the 23rd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so the leaker, Billy Bilcon, is saying this state of play and this Death Stranding 2 news or update is going to happen in the next 15 days. So the latest it could happen is on February 7th, which is a Wednesday. So tomorrow, the 25th, is a Thursday. February 1st is a Thursday. January 30th is a Tuesday. February 6th is a Tuesday. So yeah, if this report is true and this leaker is accurate, then whatever this is, it's right around the corner, which is exciting. I think I'll definitely be. If Sony I don't know that Sony would confirm that Death Stranding 2 will be there, but if they do end up confirming it, again, if this does happen, is this leaker reputable? Yeah, Billy Bilcon has, as far as I'm aware, and somebody can correct me if they know, this leaker has not missed yet. They have consistently leaked PlayStation Plus lineups, more than anybody. And they occasionally give information like this out for PlayStation. And as far as I'm aware, Dia Labs, as far as I'm aware, they haven't missed. They have a 100% track record. So it seems like they are only willing to reveal or, make reports and report on this stuff when they are 100% yes, this is happening. Like they've seen proof of it happening, or just some kind of proof that's irrefutable. So, I think it's okay to get at least a little bit excited given their track record, but we do just have to still maintain that this is a rumor, and most importantly, we have to understand that plans can and do change. And so I don't think they would change so suddenly. Again, the next 15 days, that's right around the corner, basically. But, if Sony decides for one reason or another that actually we're going to push it back or something, they could do that. So let's not get our hopes too high, but something potentially to look forward to. And the timing of it seems right. MBG, the hype man. Yeah, dude, get hype. This is going to be the greatest state of play we ever see, bro. It's going to be the best. Nothing's going to top it. I can't wait to see Death Stranding 2, though, man. I really can't wait to see, because I don't know. I just really can't wait to see everybody's reaction to it, and even what my own reaction to it's going to be. A Ghost of Tsushima 2 teaser. Yes, obviously we can expect that at the state of play. You're saying if we don't see Stellar Blade, you will curl up in a ball and cry. I think Stellar Blade's one of those games that has a high chance of showing up. In fact, I could see it getting a release date. If Sony holds a state of play soon, I could see it getting a release date. So, There you go. That is the report I have for you guys on Death Stranding 2 and an upcoming state of play. But we do have another topic to go over and discuss here, and this is in regards to, believe it or not, Until Dawn. I didn't think that I would be covering this game. So I never played Until Dawn. You guys have told me a while ago, you guys were telling me I should play it. I never got around to it. But I have a couple of different things here to go over with you for Until Dawn. The first is official confirmation. This is not a rumor, but this is reported by the Hollywood Reporter. Until Dawn video game movie in the works from David F. Sandberg and Gary Dauberman. Filmmaker David F. Sandberg, who spent the past several years in the land of superheroes, is returning to his horror roots. The Shazam Helmer has signed a deal to direct Until Dawn, an adaptation of the PlayStation horror video game being made by Screen Gems and PlayStation Productions. All three units fall under the Sony umbrella. Gary Dauberman, the screenwriter behind hit horror franchises It, Annabelle, and The Nun, is doing a pass on the script originally written by Blair Butler, who previously wrote Sony's vampire thriller The Invitation. Dauberman, who late last year signed a first-look deal with Screen Gems and Sony to deliver horror movies, is producing Until Dawn under his coin-operated banner. Also producing are Sandberg and Loda Lawston via their Magenta Shingle, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, as well as Roy Lee of Vertigo Entertainment and PlayStation Productions, Assad Kizilbash, and Carter Swan. First released in 2015, Until Dawn is an interactive horror video game that follows 8 friends and frenemies who are brought together at a remote mountain retreat with live-or-die scenarios featuring a mysterious killer, cannibalistic wendigos, a cable car, and a long-ago mining cave that reverberates into the present day. The members of the group must fight through their fear if they all hope to make it through the night in one piece. The game proved to be a surprise hit when critics and received numerous gaming award nominations. So it goes into more details about PlayStation productions and whatnot. But so my understanding of this with the Until Dawn movie, based on the people who are associated with this, my understanding is this has the potential to actually be a very, very good horror movie because the people who are attached to it have produced very, very good horror movies. So there seems to be decent talent attached to this Until Dawn movie. But what makes things even more interesting is that we are now getting a report, once again, coming from Billy Bilkun of Dia Labs, that Until Dawn, a PS5 and PC version, is inbound. This is being reported by WCCF Tech. It says a Until Dawn PS5 and PC version is inbound, according to a renowned leaker. This information comes from known deals leaker Billy Bilkun, who has proven to be spot on when it comes to leaking PlayStation Plus and Game Pass titles ahead of their official announcements. Not only that, but this leaker also correctly leaked the recently released Mortal Kombat 1 before its official reveal. As posted on French website Dia Labs, Until Dawn is making a comeback on both PlayStation 5 and PC, although it's not clear whether both versions will be released simultaneously. According to Billy Bilkun, this new version of Supermassive Games' horror title has been in development for at least a year, but it's not clear if we're looking at a remaster of a remake, or just a straight port. Now, see, this is where I think things kind of start to get interesting because first we hear that, okay, Sony is apparently making a Until Dawn movie, which I don't think anybody was asking for that. I don't think anybody's opposed to it just because it's okay. Yeah, how do you pronounce it? Is it Kun or Kun? I don't know. Kun? I mean, for me, my instinct is to pronounce it Kun. Like none, like Nun, Kun. I don't know. You can let me know. But I don't think anybody was. Oh, it is pronounced Coon, like Billy Bill Coon? Billy Bill Coon. Okay. I'll try to say it the right way then. That's weird to me. I would not think to say it like that. All right. You know me and my pronunciation, guys. But yeah, I don't think anybody was asking for an Until Dawn movie. I don't know that anybody's upset with it though, because it's just like, okay, like make an Until Dawn movie, I guess. Hopefully, I mean, it's good that they have good talent attached to it. Like that to me is what is interesting. But now we're hearing that there is a PS5 and PC version in the works. And I mean, I got to ask you guys. First off, how many of you did play Until Dawn on PlayStation 4? And second question, would you play it again? You know, on PS5 or PC? If you haven't played it, would you pick it up for PS5 or PC? As somebody who never did play Until Dawn, I would definitely buy it on PS5 if they re-release it to give it a shot. You're saying you still need the platinum? Yeah, Until Dawn's a fascinating game to me because what I know about it is that like I don't think Sony had high expectations for it at all, and it ended up doing like way better than they anticipated. They're like, what? Like it sold like 4 million copies or something, like 5 million, somewhere in that ballpark. And it like, I guess maybe they had like the mentality of like if it could just sell 1.5 million, we'll be happy with that. So it seemed like it was a surprise hit for them that they really didn't expect. And so you can kind of understand why they want to do more with it. But here's where things get even more interesting, in my opinion. Supermassive Games made Until Dawn, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they are owned by Facebook now, or Meta. Let me make sure. I'm correct in that. Wait, am I wrong about that? Who owns them? Parent, Nordisk Film. Okay, who might? Oh, I'm thinking of Ready at Dawn. Sorry, Ready at Dawn was picked up by Meta. Supermassive Games is owned by Nordisk Film. So I don't. It doesn't seem like they are making anything with PlayStation. Yeah, I was thinking of Ready at Dawn. My bad. They made The Order 1886. You know, I don't think Sony is doing anything with Supermassive. I don't know if they're doing anything. I don't think they're doing anything with Nordisk Film. So, you know, they're taking this intellectual property that they own, Until Dawn. They're taking the game that Supermassive made, and they're Supermassive's making that Dead by Daylight game. Yeah, the casting of Frank Stone. Okay, yeah. So it seems like they're not working with Sony. So, you know, this kind of made me question. I mean, I may be trying to connect the dots here where there are none, but hopefully you'll see where I'm going with this. All right, the Until Dawn movie announced. It's happening. And yeah, okay, cool. Then not too long after that, we get a rumor from a very reliable leaker claiming that Until Dawn PS5 and PC version is inbound. Now, this immediately made me think of some leaks or some rumors, I should say, that we got in previous years, like the past 2 or 3 years. I have a report. This comes from Glitched. This was from August 16th, 2022. Sony Interactive Entertainment is reportedly working with Ballistic Moon, an independent studio consisting of former leads at Supermassive Games, on a new PS5 game with the code name Project Bates. While Sony isn't officially mentioned in the announcement from Ballistic Moon, some new leaks indicate that PlayStation is the game's big unnamed publisher. Ballistic Moon took to social media to confirm that it's working on a new untitled PS5 game with the codename Project Bates. The game will also be developed in Unreal Engine 5. The studio mentions that it's working with a big publisher, but stopped short of giving any proper details. However, Reset Era quickly managed to spot that it could be Sony. According to a Reset Era user um, who credits Tumari for first spotting the information, the big publisher is apparently Sony Interactive Entertainment, as one unnamed motion capture actor for Project Bates accidentally listed it alongside Ballistic Moon. It will likely be a PS5 exclusive in the vein of Until Dawn, which launched exclusively for PS4 back in 2015. Ballistic Moon's currently employs Neil McEwen as Project Bates creative director. McEwen was a former game director at Supermassive Games, the developer behind the narrative-driven horror games Until Dawn, and apparently the Quarry and the Dark Pictures anthology. The studio's technology director, Chris Lamb, also previously worked at Supermassive Games, as well as Joshua Archer, who is currently credited as a motion capture artist on Project Bates. So this is I think there might be some kind of connection here, potentially. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking of the timing of this, right? Like Until Dawn, randomly out of nowhere, 2024. Let's port it or remaster it for PS5 and PC. Let's do a movie. What I'm beginning to think is this game that has been worked on for at least a couple of, I mean, I don't know exactly when it started development, but again, this report I just read was from 2022, and this game Project Bates sounds very much like it is in the vein of Until Dawn. I don't think it's going to be an Until Dawn sequel or anything like that, like Until Dawn 2. It could be. But they're working with Sony, and these are supermassive developers that worked on Until Dawn. I'm beginning to think that there is a chance, and maybe this is a indicator, again, I'm trying to connect the dots here, that we may end up seeing this Project Bates PS5 exclusive game revealed sometime this year. Because I don't see why they would just suddenly now decide, let's get a movie going and let's get a PS5 and PC version going. You know what I mean? To kind of like get people, I don't know, just in that mindset. Maybe get some synergy going. It's the same reason why I feel like we haven't heard of Ghost of Tsushima yet. Listen, if you want to really go down the rabbit hole with me here for just a moment, there was another supposed leak that occurred a couple of days ago. It comes from 4chan, so take that for what you will. But the leak that many people seem to believe is somebody who claimed to be working at Nixxes, and they were like, here's some of the games that are going to be coming to PC soon. Like, announced this year for PC. Demon Souls was on there, and Ghost of Tsushima was on there. I don't remember what else was on there, but I know that Demon Souls and Ghost of Tsushima were named. And this was interesting to me because I don't know if people have noticed, but Sony seems to line up their PC game announcements usually, like for games that came out last generation. Although Demon Souls was a PS5 launch title, Sony seems to try to align these PC announcements when it can potentially benefit a future announcement, a future game that they're going to be putting out. And I've always thought to myself, well, the reason why we don't see Ghost of Tsushima on PC is because they want to announce it for PC once the sequel is announced. So that way it's like people get hyped for the sequel, and then it's like, well, listen, if you didn't play the first game, it's releasing on PC. It makes sense, but it might be a stretch. I think the 4chan leaker claim, I don't know if this was from the leaker or if this is just what somebody said, but like that the studio, it's their first time releasing a game on PC, so it took them a lot longer. I don't know. It could be that too. But I'm just beginning to wonder if when we see something like this, right? We see Until Dawn. Here you go. This game that we put out in 2015 and haven't talked about since. We're re-releasing it for the PS5. I wonder if that is a potential indicator that we will see an announcement of this Project Bates game in the not too distant future. I wonder if the timing of Demon Souls. Now that this is, listen, this is I'm really going off the beaten path here. If Demon Souls is going to be announced for PC this year, I do wonder if it's because Sony is going to be announcing their new exclusive title with From Software this year. Kind of get that synergy going, you know? Just a thought. Probably unlikely, but, you know. Perfect Image, you're saying Sony needs to make more shooter games. Hold on. Perfect Image, I'm very confused about this. Hold on. Yeah, I'm very confused about the super chat. Perfect Image, you're saying Sony needs to make more shooter games like Heavy Rain. Perfect Image. I don't know how to break this to you, man, but Heavy Rain isn't a shooter. Unless you mean, so here's what you could mean. Here's what I think you're trying to say. What I think you're trying to say is you're saying Sony needs to make more shooters and less games like Heavy Rain. I think that's what you're trying to say. Because Heavy Rain is, for those, I'm sure everybody knows, but Heavy Rain is very much like Until Dawn in that they're just like, they're choice-based games. You know, they're not super gameplay heavy. Certainly not a shooter. So I hope I'm properly interpreting what you were trying to say. But either way, Perfect Image, I do appreciate the super chat, man. The popular shooter, Heavy Rain. Yeah, dude. Shooter of the generation. Heavy Rain could have been the next Call of Duty. Sony dropped the ball on that one. Kill Rain. Heavy Zone. What has happened? Perfect Image, what have you done? What is this chaos you've unleashed? I don't know why. What sounds worse, Kill Rain or Heavy Zone? I think Kill Rain sounds worse. Heavy Zone sounds not cool, but like you could kind of see a game actually being called Heavy Zone. I can't see a game actually being called Kill Rain without just being like, really? A Kill Rain? Uh-oh. Kill Rain, the next big Sony exclusive. God of Rain. That's funny stuff. Kill Rain, the Blood Rain sequel. Oh, yeah, there was a game called Blood Rain. There you go. There you go. Good stuff, man. Well, I do wonder. Well, I'm not wondering if this is true. I do believe this. Again, it's coming from Dia Labs. Until Dawn PS5 PC version. The thing that I'm wondering at this point is when this will be announced. Is it a possibility that this could be like a surprise announcement at an upcoming State of Play? Maybe. But you're saying Kill Rain sounds like a Kojima title, not gonna lie. Well, I think Kojima is one of the only creatives out there that could get away with calling a game Kill Rain and get away with it being like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Kill Rain. But I think like anybody else tried it, they're like, nah, that ain't gonna work. We have, hey, it's Andre choosing to re-up his membership here. Guys, let's get some W's flowing in the chat for, hey, it's Andre. I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, shout out to all of my channel members who are actively re-upping their memberships. I know a lot of people rely on the membership gifts, which is fine. But I just got to give a special shout out to all those who, maintain that membership every month. I really appreciate it, man. So
thank you.
Hey, it's Andre. That's for you. And that gets added to the counter. All right. So this is probably going to be a shorter show today, shorter stream, because I'm blowing through these topics. Not that that's a bad thing. Interesting topics, just, not a whole lot to say about them, honestly. MRPD says, no, what happened to my membership? It happens, man. It happens. I'm sure you'll get it back at some point, though, MRPD. Hopefully. In Perfect Image, you're saying the game that Sony pushes out. So you're saying that Sony makes a lot of zombie games. I mean, yeah, I could see why some people might think that. I mean, I don't know that I agree that like Sony is making too many zombie games. I think some people got a little bit concerned with Days Gone, where it's like, okay, well, we already had The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 coming. Now we're doing Days Gone. But other than that, what other zombie games does Sony have? I like zombie games, first off. I do like zombie games. But there's The Last of Us. There's Days Gone. You're saying Oh, hold on. I think I might be misinterpreting your super chat again. Somebody pointed out in the chat, they're saying what you mean to what you are saying is that Sony should push out more zombie games. They should make more zombie games. I mean, I would be okay with that depending on how they're doing it, because it's like, listen, you do have The Last of Us already, and it's it's not like a traditional zombie game. It's somewhat different, but to me, the zombie game, if Sony's going to do more or another, the zombie game should be Days Gone 2. You're saying he means less. Well, either way, we have to look at this either way, because I can't tell what he means. You're saying much less. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Perfect Image. I'm trying to understand. Well, I don't think there's going to be a lot of zombie games coming up. I think we're going to get like Ghost of Tsushima 2, Santa Monica's new IP. I don't think that's going to be a zombie game. I don't think Naughty Dog's new IP is going to be a zombie game. We have Romero Simpson coming in, dropping a membership gift. Romero, I think this might be the first time I see you gifting a membership here on the channel, man. I really appreciate that. Guys, let's get some W's in the chat for our friend Romero dropping a membership gift on us here. He brings us up to 5 members on the day. Really appreciate that support, man. Thank you. Good stuff. You think Days Gone is better than The Last of Us? Well, I mean, to each their own, man. Days Gone was good. I want to say this. It is truly bizarre to me that Sony has greenlit a Days Gone movie, but they're not doing a sequel for it. I think a lot of people forget that, and I remind them from time to time that, like, yeah, there's a Days Gone movie in the works. Very strange, man. I don't know what the logic is behind that. To me, it confirms that Sony still cares about the Days Gone IP. Maybe they will make a sequel. I think they could, in the future, make a sequel. I don't think well, we know that it's not being worked on right now, but the fact that they're willing to make a movie tells me that they're gonna do more with this intellectual property in the future. You're saying the Days Gone Freakers was a dumb name? That was a dumb name. I'll be honest. That was. I understand, like, they were trying to be like original. Like, they're not zombies. Like, dude, they're zombies. Like, please, you don't have to call them that. You could call them something else, but like freakers, freakers, not a great name. Freakers. The more I think about it, the worse it gets in my mind. I'm like, that is. You're saying, according to Jeff Ross, Days Gone was created to be a trilogy. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I knew that they wanted to make a sequel, and they had a lot of ideas. I didn't know that he confirmed it was supposed to be a trilogy. Oh yeah, there's a Gravity Rush movie too. So Sony's still doing stuff with these IPs. Walking Dead called zombies walkers. Oh, did you guys hear? I do have two other topics I want to go over with you before we actually get to the end of the stream. But did you guys hear that apparently a 28 years later, I think, or a 28 months later movie is in the works now? You know, with Danny Boyle. The 28, dude, those movies, 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, those were incredible movies. I think they're my favorite zombie movies of all time. So the fact that is that what it's going to be called 28 years later? That's crazy. That's awesome. That's so awesome. It'll probably be years before we hear anything more about it or like get our first look at it. But man, that's going to be awesome. We should get like a game. We should get like a 28 years, 28 days later game or something. Cillian Murphy, he's huge now. I mean, he's really like a, massive movie star. But I remember he starred in 28 Days Later, and he was really young. I don't think they'll be able to get him back for 28 years later. That'd be cool if they did. That would be amazing if they did. He said he would. Oh, that would be so awesome. Yeah, I don't have a ton of movies on Blu-ray, but I have both of those movies on Blu-ray. I have 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. And Jeremy Renner was in 28 Weeks Later too. And he wasn't really that famous at the time. You're saying, no, that's not how you say his name. Cillian Murphy? No way. I've never heard anybody say his name is Cillian. Anyway, Sean Mitchell, member for 9 months, he says, just dropped in MBG, so excited to hopefully see more of Death Stranding 2, hopefully more of an insight on the story, gameplay mechanics, and this mysterious guitar guy. Yeah. I think it's going to be Troy Baker. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I hope that when we do see Death Stranding again, we get much more insight, like you're saying, into all these different critical aspects of the game. Because the funny thing about that trailer for Death Stranding 2, just to go back to it for a moment here, is like you can watch it over and over again, and there's definitely more you can get out of it if you really like. I know that there are people who like broke down the trailers and like every detail, but I still feel like there's way more we don't know. Like there's just like too much we don't know. And it's been a while since we've seen it, so I'm ready, man. My whole thing is I want to see gameplay. More than anything, I want to see gameplay. All right. All right, we have the Contextual Gamer with a $5 super chat. Appreciate that, man. You're saying, MBG, are you ready for Tekken 8? And what do you think of Yakuza 8 New Game Plus paywall? Sega's been greedy lately. What games are you currently playing / excited for? Well, I appreciate the super chat, the Contextual Gamer. Yeah, so I saw people talking about that, how like apparently it is confirmed that New Game Plus is behind a paywall for the new Like a Dragon game. My thoughts on that, it's just kind of bullshit, you know? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know why they're doing it. They want more money, but here's why I think they're doing it. Like why they're going to get away with it, I mean. They're doing it because they want more money, obviously. They want to make more off of, a certain portion of the player base, but I think they're going to get away with it, and they're pretty confident they're going to get away with it because what I've seen people saying about this game is that, at least a lot of people saying, is that they don't understand how anybody could even play New Game Plus. Where like the game has so much content and the game can be so long to just beat on its own and do everything in there that like some people were basically acting like you'd have to be crazy to play this game in New Game Plus. Or, and here's where I am taking this, it's like like you're a super fan. Like this is like one of the only games you play, or like this is a game that you spend like half the year playing, right? And I think that's exactly why they're doing this, because they know that the more casual players that are buying their game, if not casual, people who are not the super fans, right? Or people who are going to be playing for forever, they're not, they'll just be like, whatever, I'm not paying for that. But they know that the people who really care about, man, I absolutely want to play New Game Plus, like I absolutely want to do this. They know they'll pay for it. And it is kind of slimy in that like it feels wrong to just kind of squeeze your most dedicated players like that. But I would say I'm surprised, but these days, I don't know, video game publishers are getting a little bit desperate. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. We talk all the time about the current state of the video game industry and how it's becoming more and more difficult for AAA games to make their money back, to be profitable. And nobody's going to just come out here and be like, you know what, we're just going to charge $80 or $90 for a game. Nobody's going to do that, not anytime soon. And this is the way. This is the way that they're trying to extract more from their games that they're making. And I understand it from a business perspective. Like, I get it. You guys have to try to make more money and keep things going and keep things running smoothly and ensure the games are profitable. But doing it in a way like this, it just feels wrong. It's like, come on. Like, paywall New Game Plus, really? It kind of, like, to me, it sounds desperate. And that, I don't know if there's truth to that. Like, I don't know if they're that desperate, like they need to make that extra money on the game, but it just seems desperate to me. Like, I feel like there's like so many other things you could try to charge extra for, but New Game Plus being one, it just doesn't fit in that. So yeah, that was kind of weird to see. Tekken 8. I mean, I think I'm gonna play Tekken 8. Yeah, I think I think I've made that. Oh, that's interesting. Saying Zubitech tweeted that PlayStation blocks Cronus cheaters with a new PS5 update. That's very interesting. Okay, yeah. So for people who don't know, I think doesn't that like the Cronus, doesn't that allow you to like bypass the system? So it's like it detects your keyboard and mouse as a controller or something like that. I'm pretty sure it does something along those lines, and it's pretty expensive too. But yeah, it is like cheating. Hmm. Or you can use like modded controllers or something. It overclocks your controller input. No recoil. Yeah, I'm not like too familiar with it. I remember a long time ago I came across it. That's good news though, because that stuff is just slimy. Like buying these, you not only that, you can't get aimbot too. Yeah, I don't understand why people cheat in games, dude. I will never understand that. Because it's like, what is the point? I mean, like, really though, like, what is the point? Why not just take the time to, I don't know, actually get good? And if you can't get good, why don't you just focus on enjoying the game itself then? The whole idea of cheating in this way, it's just like, what do you, you're like not even really playing the game. It's very dumb to me. People have a god complex. That would explain it. Yeah. That would explain why people do that. That's true as well. You're saying a lot of streamers do it for clout. Yeah, that I've seen many clips pop up of people getting caught like cheating and stuff, and it's like, wow. It's pretty pathetic. Very sad. But the contextual gamer, to answer the last part, or I think I am gonna get Tekken 8. Yeah, because I'm seeing it's getting really good reviews, and I don't know, like I'm just it's kind of getting me excited. You know, it's not that the reviews mean that much to me, but it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, it's sitting at a 90 on Metacritic. That's impressive. That's impressive. This must be a very good game. Not that I expected it to be less than a good game, but it just kind of, it gives me that just little added boost of, okay, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to play some Tekken 8. I've always liked Tekken. You're saying 99% of streamers cheat, though? There's no way it's that high. That's too much. We have the zombie fanatic. So he says with a super chat, some enemies in Infamous were called Dustmen. Oh my god. Dustmen. All right. I love the idea that like they're like game developers that pose something like hey, what about Dustmen? And it's just like, well, why not? What could we think? Is it going to get better than Dustmen? I don't think so. Yeah, we'll just go with that. That's fine. I agree. That's not anywhere as bad as Freakers. Freakers is, I think, the like as low as it goes, or pretty close to it, because it's so unoriginal, unimaginative, and it doesn't even it just doesn't even it's just like, what are you even describing? Like if somebody says, oh, that's a freaker, I'm not gonna think a zombie like creature. I'm gonna think like a drug addict that's like tweaking or something, like that's actually what I would think of. But you think clickers sounds goofy? Yeah, I admit that the term, like the word clicker, like, oh, it's a clicker. It does sound goofy, but I think when you actually hear the sound they make, it's like one of those things like, oh, okay, yeah, that actually that's a perfect name. Like if you hear the word, oh, that's a clicker, and then you don't know that they make that clicking sound, I could see how it's like that's pretty stupid. But I do think it makes sense. Clickers, dude, clickers still scare me. So to answer your the last part of your question, contextual gamer, you're asking what I'm playing right now. Well, I've already talked about what I'm excited for, but what I'm still playing The Last of Us Part 2 right now, and yeah, clickers still freak me out, dude. Like I'm not like scared of them, not like that. I mean, they stress me out. That's a better way to put it. I still get stressed with clickers because once they start like coming at you, and it like you kind of realize I'm not in the ideal position to shoot them, or you just kind of get like this sense of panic where it's like, okay, I need to get the hell away like now, because the second they grab you, that's what makes the clicker scary in the game is once they grab you, if you don't have like a shiv or a melee weapon or something, like you're done. And it always just kind of adds that extra layer of tension. Yeah, clickers, dude, I think clickers are awesome. I will say, as I'm playing through The Last of Us Part 2 again, um, I one of the reasons I was so excited for the Last of Us multiplayer game, which I'm sorry to bring it up again, but one of the reasons I was so excited about it is because I really thought that the infected are going to play a big role, because in the original factions mode there was no infected. It was just 4v4, humans versus humans. As far as I'm aware, I don't recall there being any infected. And I got really excited about this multiplayer game because I was like, if this is going to be like a co-op game, or if there's going to be an aspect of this game where there is co-op, or you know, there's going to be different missions you can go on. I was like, there's definitely going to be like a heavy emphasis on infected, and that was going to be really awesome because it would be the first time we ever get to potentially facing like a Days Gone like horde with another player, or up to 4 players or something. I mean that's why I get so sad when I think about the cancellation of this game, because it's like I'm pretty sure that was going to be, as to a certain extent, something that existed. Were there any? Are you sure? Hold on, Hanzo. You're saying 5v5 with enemies on the map. Wait. You're saying that's what it would have been, maybe? Because I do not recall in the original factions there being infected. I'm like pretty sure there weren't, right? Oh, you're saying imagine. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would have been awesome too. That would have been awesome. They could have done more than 5v5, dude. It could have been like, I mean, apparently there was going to be like a battle royale, dude. And I know people act like, oh my God, battle royale. But really think about what that would be like in the Last of Us universe. That would be insane. You drop into this large area where you have to find items and craft them. And there's all these different areas where there could be clickers, there could be runners, an area where there's a bloater, and then there's a bunch of other people in that map as well that are also going to try to kill you. That is depressing to me, to think that like we could have had that. And we just won't. That would have been really fun. But it is what it is. I will say I am noticing more people talking about this now that they've played the no return mode. I've been seeing more and more people basically saying like, dude, yeah, this no return mode seems to give us a better idea of how fun this multiplayer experience could have been. And oh yeah, make it an extraction shooter. That would have been interesting too. Well, all my hopes and dreams for The Last of Us multiplayer now lie in what I assume will eventually be The Last of Us Part 3. I imagine The Last of Us Part 3 will exist one day, and when it does, I really hope that Naughty Dog is wise this time and says, we're going to do a proper Factions 2 with it as well. That's the best we could hope for now, I think. All right, so I got through my main topics. I have 2 extra bonus topics I want to talk about with you guys here. So I have a topic here for Dragon's Dogma 2. Pretty interesting one, because I think it kind of got people talking, in a way that's like, is he right? So let me give you the context. This is being reported by Push Square. Capcom's upcoming and expansive open-world RPG, Dragon's Dogma 2, is one we're eagerly anticipating to get lost in. It's due out on PS5 on March 22nd, and getting off the beaten path and following the road less traveled is part of the appeal of a game like this. Director Hideki Itsuno isn't a particular fan of the fast travel as a mechanic, as it turns out, and has some... Hold on. I'm reading this totally wrong. Let me try this again. Director Hideki Itsuno isn't a particular fan of fast travel as a mechanic, as it turns out, and he has some advice for designers who think players who hate hoofing it across the map. Speaking to IGN, Itsuno explained his stance on exploration in games and offered some helpful advice to the industry at large. Travel is boring? That's not true. It's only an issue because your game is boring. All you have to do is make travel fun. It's simple. See? Itsuno expounded, detailing the ways in which players can expect Dragon's Dogma 2 to differ. That's why you place things in the right location for players to discover, or come up with enemy appearance methods that create different experiences each time, or force players into blind situations where they don't know whether it's safe or not 10 meters in front of them. We decided to design the kind of map where players will make decisions for themselves to travel by bike or on foot in order to enjoy the journey. So I found these comments interesting because he didn't pull any punches. We have a developer, or I should say the director of Dragon's Dogma 2, just straight up saying that no, he's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of like going against not only like other game designers and developers, but even maybe some players as well, players who do like fast travel. But mainly game designers. That's the big thing here. He just is straight up saying, like, if players don't like traveling in your world, then your game is boring. That's a pretty loaded statement, you know? And I kind of want to unpack that a little bit and ask you guys, like, do you agree with that statement? Or do you think it's true? Do you think there's more to it than that? You think it's false? You think it depends on the scale of the game? Don't make a bloated mess then. I see a lot of you guys agreeing. Hanzo says it swings both ways. It depends. Yeah, so my gut, like, knee-jerk reaction to this is, yeah, you're right. You know, like, absolutely. If a game is boring, no one's going to want to travel in it. Like, no one's going to want to go from point A to point B in a boring game in a boring world. So I do agree with that. But I do think it does kind of depend on the type of game, you know, where it's like, one of the things he says here that I think is interesting, and, you know, you can tell this is where the challenge of being a game designer for an open world game comes in. He says, you know, enemy appearance methods that create a different experience each time, or force players into blind situations where they don't know whether it's safe or not 10 meters in front of them. I think that can be like a double-edged sword in a way, you know, where it's like, that sounds cool, but what if that just gets really bothersome? So it may not be boring. Like, we always have something for you to do if you're traveling in our world, but what if it just gets annoying to players? See, that's kind of something I thought of as well. And this is where it's like, I don't know that I fully agree with him in that I think fast travel is important to have in games as an option for people who are just trying to get, I guess you could say, a less open world experience, or an experience where if you are going to travel through that open world, there's always something happening that could potentially get in the way of, look, I'm just trying to get from point A to point B. You know, so I do understand why fast travel exists, and I do agree that it should still exist. I don't know that I could get behind this notion that we just shouldn't have fast travel, because if you do, your game is boring. But I do think there is a lot of truth in what he's saying, though, in that, unfortunately, it does seem like in certain games, it really does become like you almost begin to question, like, why is this open world again? Like, why is so much of my time just literally going from point A to point B with nothing at all in between? Like, I think of Ghost of Tsushima sometimes, right? Where Ghost of Tsushima, I think, handled this really well, where the only time, I don't think I ever really used fast travel in Ghost of Tsushima, unless it was like to collect something specifically, for like a trophy or something. Like, I need to go here to do that. But generally speaking, like, when just playing the game naturally, I thought Ghost of Tsushima handled it really well, where, like, when you're traveling in that world, not only is it just a sight to behold, but, you know, you don't really like, oh, there's a fox. I should follow that fox, right? Where's that fox going to take me? Or oh, there's a Torii gate, or oh, there's like a group of Ronin or whatever that you don't have to engage them, but they're there, and you got to be aware of it. And so I thought it handled it pretty well. Um, but there's no denying that they're just a game where I think like Horizon Forbidden West, I don't think I really enjoyed traversing that open world that much. And I think that it wasn't because I didn't like the world itself, because I did. I liked looking at it. It was cool. But what I found in Horizon Forbidden West is I started to get very annoyed at like, okay, I just keep getting attacked, like by machines. And it got to a point where I'm like, this is just getting annoying now. Like everywhere I go, there's just more machines attacking me. It's like, I just want to go, like, can I just move? Like it would get to a point where I'm like, I got to like run around. I don't want to be seen by these machines. That's true. At some point you can fly in Forbidden West. So it's like that definitely, solved that problem. But I got to be honest in that that is kind of something that stand out. Now, was Forbidden West boring? No, but I think that's an example of I kind of wish it went in the other direction, where it's like I almost get the feeling that they place the machines the way they do, and they make it so that every time you're trying to like go from this point to this point, there's gonna be machines that spot you. It's like there's always something around the corner, right? But it's like I almost feel like maybe it should have been a little bit further apart from one another. I would have been okay in a world like Horizon Forbidden West with just some more, frankly, like empty space. When I say empty space, like not filled with enemies, where it's just the landscape. That's it's just my opinion though. But that is true. You can just run away from them. That's what I was doing. Let me tell you, that's what I was doing. But I thought this was just a really interesting comment. I have Pragmaticat here with a $2 super chat saying, are we celebrating the Legacy 1 year anniversary? Pragmatic Cat, can you explain exactly what you're talking about? The Legacy? I'm going to read what Toolman said here. Pragmatic Cat, you let me know exactly what you mean by that. Oh, okay, Hogwarts. Okay. Oh, yeah. Damn, dude. Yeah, so I'm glad I asked, because for some reason, I almost, like, are you talking about Uncharted Lost Legacy or something? Like, I was like, wait, that didn't come out last year, right? No. I don't know. For some reason, I started thinking of Legacy of Kain, too. I'm like, are you talking about, like Legacy of Kain? Hogwarts Legacy, 1 year. Man, where does the time go? When did Hogwarts Legacy come out exactly? I know it was February. February 10th. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, we're right around the corner of the 1 year anniversary of Hogwarts Legacy already. Damn, dude. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to be celebrating it, but it is serving as a reminder of just how quickly time moves forward. And sometimes you don't realize it. Because I swear it feels like just yesterday, like that game came out. But Toolman, member for 23 months, saying, I'm still in awe of the initial cutscenes in Death Stranding when Sam reaches the cave and encounters the lady and the entity. It was just jaw-dropping to me. Yeah, I think, no, you don't have to be sorry, Toolman. It's fine, man, because, like, that is one of the things I am excited to see about Death Stranding 2 is it's going to be basically the latest iteration of the Decima engine. I mean, we saw what Kojima Productions did in 2019, and Death Stranding was an amazing looking game. Like all around, like it was a very, very good looking game. And then we get Horizon Forbidden West, which obviously looks insanely good. And now we're going to get another iteration See, like, to me, the exciting part about Death Stranding 2 compared to, let's say, Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West was a cross-gen game. It was a game that was developed with the PS4 in mind, and everything that they did, even graphically speaking, they had to keep the PS4 hardware in mind. With Death Stranding 2, that's no longer the case. It's going to be just a PS5 game. I'm assuming it'll be on PC as well, but we don't have to worry about the PS4 potentially holding anything back, and just knowing how talented Kojima Productions is, seeing everything they did with Death Stranding 1 on the PS4 and PS4 Pro. It's like, yeah, I'm very excited to see what they do. I mean, if you watch that trailer, there's like specifically that scene where Fragile's holding up the baby, and I'm like looking, I'm like, that looks insane. Like if that's what the game's actually going to look like, that looks insane. So yeah, I'm excited, man, for that as well, just to see how good the game actually looks. Um, Let me read some of these. So I'm on Push Square. Let me read some of these comments. This person says, I couldn't agree with him more for saying this. We've seen traveling can be fun with Death Stranding, Skyrim, and Elden Ring. Hell, even survival or survival horror games like The Forest, Dead Space Remake, Evil Within 2, and Resident Evil, because they rely on the player to make careful planning with their limited resources to use on the way to their objective and on the way back, which makes it feel satisfying. And then somebody else says, I get what he's saying, but that being said, I still use fast travel in games like Breath of the Wild, Elden Ring, and Tears of the Kingdom, despite those games having good and fun exploration. Yeah. So it's definitely an interesting thing that's being said here. But I think, like, for me, the conclusion here is that fast travel should be in games. It's good to have it. It's beneficial. I don't think it would be beneficial to the player to remove it, but I think it's a wise idea for developers to try to ensure that they make traveling in their world as fun and engaging as they can without it, again, becoming annoying in any way. So that way players are more inclined to, see the game world you created rather than just trying to constantly defer to fast travel. I have one last thing here. I just wanted to read this because I just thought it would make for an interesting read. It's a write-up on Gaming Bolt, and they say why Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of the most promising games of the year. After the ridiculously packed year that was 2023, it wouldn't have been surprising to most of us if the games industry collectively took a bit of a breath this year. But by the looks of it, that momentum isn't slowing down. 2024 may only just have started, but the list of promising major new releases lined up for the year is already looking like an impressive one. And in that list, the one game that's generating more hype and excitement than any of the others is, without a doubt, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Of course, any game bearing the Final Fantasy name is always going to demand the attention of the masses. And on top of that, Rebirth is benefiting from the added hype for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, just as its 2020 predecessor did. Even based off those two factors alone, it would be easy to understand why the upcoming action RPG is so high on so many people's most anticipated lists. But looking beyond that and taking a look at the actual game itself and how it's shaping up, you're still going to find a ton of reasons why Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is generating the buzz that it is. Like any ideal sequel, Rebirth is promising some major improvements to the already solid foundation it is building off of. 2020's aforementioned Final Fantasy VII Remake was an excellent game, probably one of the best we've seen from Square Enix's flagship franchise in a long, long time. And its upcoming sequel is looking to build on its strength in some key ways, which are collectively promising what so far is looking like one of the most exciting Final Fantasy releases in years. Nothing is more emblematic of how Rebirth is expanding on Remake than the much more open and non-linear structure it's adopting. Final Fantasy VII Remake was, by and large, a pretty linear game, with Square Enix choosing to prioritize its combat and world building appropriately enough for the first installment of what's planned as a trilogy. Rebirth, however, is expanding its horizons significantly and is adopting an open world approach. As explained by director Naoki Hamaguchi in an interview with Press Start, though this uh, though the entirety of the world isn't going to be open to players at once, the game will put you in a single massive, completely seamless world map, one that you will unlock more and more of as you progress further in the story. Even when you're restricted to, say, the starting area, though, the game is going to afford much greater freedom in terms of being able to explore and tackle optional and hidden content, something that we didn't see an awful lot of in Final Fantasy VII Remake. What's more, Rebirth's open world is going to be a one-to-one recreation of the original Final Fantasy VII's entire world map, which means all of the dungeons and cities that you remember will now be placed in a single seamless map. As you'd expect from that larger scope and open ended structure, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is also promising to be a much larger experience than its predecessor, both in terms of its critical path and its optional content. Square Enix has confirmed that its main story will be over 40 hours long, but if you were to properly dive into its side offerings, you can easily get over 100 hours of gameplay. As for how much of the side content will actually be worth doing, especially in light of the less than stellar optional offerings of Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth's developers certainly seem to be saying the right things. Speaking to Game Informer, co-director Matamu Toriyama said, when looking at these larger titles in which there is a more expansive world that has these large amounts of side content, some players may feel they have a large quantity of side content, but perhaps the actual experience is not varied. For Rebirth, we took care of having this select number of side content, which we truly worked to develop in depth. This was a large consideration for us, allowing players to experience various forms of gameplay through the side content. In that way, I believe we were able to achieve a distinctive flavor among similar titles. Interestingly enough, Rebirth's development team took inspiration from The Witcher 3 for the development of its side content, as per director Naoki Hamaguchi, though there will certainly be plenty of optional gameplay focused activities to dive into, from investigating world intel events to playing the Queen's Blood card game. Particular emphasis is apparently being placed on narrative driven side quests focused on characters and building their relationships. How well the game can execute on that promise remains to be seen, but we're certainly hopeful. Of course, it also cannot be ignored just how big of a factor the story itself is in the level of hype surrounding Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is Final Fantasy VII after all. There would, of course, be plenty of excitement even if Rebirth were just a straightforward traditional recreation of the original game, but as was proven conclusively by FF7 Remake, this trilogy isn't going to be afraid to deviate from the original story wildly and in unexpected ways. How will that continue in Rebirth? How significantly will it move away from the original? How effectively will it answer the many questions that were raised by Remake? What will the expanded roles for the likes of Sephiroth and Zack mean for the story in the latter in particular? And how will the game twist and adapt the original Final Fantasy VII's iconic Forgotten City sequence, which Square Enix has confirmed is going to serve as Rebirth's conclusion? Yeah, they have confirmed that. For all of its story-related hooks to the significant ways in which it has expanded its structure, there's a long list of major reasons for why Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is looking as exciting as it is. Add to that improvements across combat, progression mechanics, new party members, and more, and the potential here is truly exciting. So, yeah, I hope you guys don't mind. I just thought that was worth reading. I thought that was a good write-up. It just kind of, I think, did a great job summarizing why everyone's so damn excited for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and myself included. So, yeah, man, if we do get that PlayStation State of Play, I do hope we see a little bit more of Rebirth. Although I am kind of at that point with Rebirth where it's like, I don't feel like I need to see anymore, but I'm not going to complain if I do. I expect to see more because we're entering February, and of course the marketing is going to go in full swing. But you're saying, why did they spoil where the game ends? I guess, I don't know. I mean, I haven't played the original, so it's like I don't even know what that means. Gaming Survivor is saying time to start pumping the Sony showcase. Not yet. It's too soon. You think there's... Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. We could get a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo if there's a State of Play soon. Ooh. I mean, can I resist playing it? I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. I forgot. I don't know why I forgot, but yeah, there was a demo for Final Fantasy 16, which was amazing, and I played that. But yeah, man, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of, I mean, that's the thing, man. A lot of great games all around. A lot of great games to look forward to and play. But guys, with that being said, I think this is going to conclude today's stream. I know it was a much shorter one than other streams, although it's still pretty long, over 2 hours. We are going to be moving into the members lounge. So if you are a channel member, please look out for that. The members lounge is going to go up in the next 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to hang out for a little bit, chat, maybe chat about some different topics. We'll see. You never know. You never know what might go on in the members lounge, but it was a 10-minute stream for you. Well, hey, Gaming Survivor. There you go. I knew you I knew you were going to be excited. But before I close this stream, I just do want to thank anybody who became a member today or gifted memberships. Thank you so much for the continued support. Again, the channel is fan funded, so without that direct support, I simply wouldn't be able to do what I do here, and it's awesome to be able to do it. So thank you so much for that. You guys are the sponsors of the channel. I also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for all the streams. Does a great job, and yeah, if you see him in the comments, give him a big thank you. And yeah, that's going to do it for today. We'll see when Sony decides to let us know if they're going to be doing a state of play or not. So until then, we'll just wait patiently, play some games, and yeah, so to all of my members who are going to join me in the members lounge, I'll see you over there. To anybody else who's either not going to tune in or come to the next stream, I'll catch you there. So, all right, guys, that does it. Until the next time, take care, everyone.